Okay, so we have 10U and 12U. How many 10U do we have? How many 12U? How many 12U have never been here? 2. Oh, okay. He's over there in the corner, so I know he's been back. So, no, I already know him. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the bare rules for your 10U group and the 12U group. Everything else that's on you to read rule books. We got a storm probably rolling in by 8 o'clock. So what we want to do is get you out of here, get your balls, get your equipment, do the whole 9 yards. This is when you want to ask questions though. Because if you have any questions over the next week or so, we're not going to have a whole lot of time. Because basically we want to start the week of April 8th. So this is stuff, I'm going to get that out of the way right now. So week of April 8th start, barring any complications from weather, and schedules will be out March 29th. That's the latest date. If it comes sooner, I'll turn them on. It all depends on how many conflicts everybody has in the league. So the hardest part about scheduling isn't the actual system scheduling, it's how many people can only play X amount of days. So, alrighty. Any questions before we start? By the way, if you don't know me, I'm Rod. I'm the league coordinator. That's Teresa. She is the assistant league coordinator. She's handling any players, basically anything else you need. And if I'm not here, she'll give you the answer or find the answer. And that's David. He's doing all the recording. So this year, first year, we're actually going to document the entire season. So you get an opportunity, make sure you go out on Facebook, Instagram, and everything. We're going to run videos from the park, drones, you name it, you think about it. So first time out. So might catch your team and your kids out there playing. It'll be kind of cool. So we'll get started. So we'll start off on the softball section. All right, so first thing is all games are governed by official softball rules under NSA. Okay, so this is not the holy grail of ball rules. So if you get an opportunity, try and look up some of the NSA rules. Basic, simple rules as far as you can't step back off the rubber, things of that nature. This is basically adjusted rules. So don't come out on the field arguing a softball rule with this book, because the umpires are going to look at you like you're nuts, just so you know. Okay? Naturally, we all know there's going to be a double safety base at first base. Everybody understands the double safety base, correct? We don't have to go into that detail, hopefully. Okay. Softballs are going to be flyers this year, right, Teresa? So they're flyers. Softballs are getting totally expensive. We're doing the best to make sure we have the proper rise seam on the ball for the girls, for grip, for pitching. But, yeah, they're kind of out there. So on the cost. So they're flyers. They're not bad balls, though. Hello. Welcome. Okay, 2 softballs, of which at least one must be new, will be used in all league games. We'll supply you the game balls. Each coach brings a game ball to ground rules. Okay? At the end of the game, remind the umpire to give you the ball back. That way you get 12 practice balls at the end of the season. So, otherwise, umpires have a tendency to walk away with them, and then their trunks are full of game balls, just like coaches and everybody else has going on. So. Pitching distance, 10 and under, you're 35-60, 12U's 40-60. Right? When pitching, the delivery of the softball shall be with a forward motion. No stepping behind the pitching rubber is permitted. On pitching, does anybody have any questions? Let's get that out of the way before we move forward. Regarding crow hops, anything. Already liking this group, they don't have any questions. Pretty good. All right. Should a manager or coach make 2 trips to the mound within the same inning to the same pitcher, that pitcher must be removed from pitching for the remainder of the game unless that pitcher was your starting pitcher. Everybody is aware of that rule, correct? So your starting pitcher can come back as long as they haven't hit the pitching limits set by the league, which we'll show at the end here. Okay? So if your starting pitcher comes in and pitches 2, she still has an inning or 2 innings left to be able to pitch, she can come back anytime during the game back in to pitch. Naturally, you make 3, you're going to have to make a change, period, with the same pitcher. So if you do 2, free substitution, all divisions, except for the pitcher's position by any governing rules of the league. A player may be removed from a defensive position at any time and may re-enter the game at that position or any time. So, free sub. You have somebody who's going to be late. You know it. Okay? Let's make sure everybody's clear that they can come 40 minutes into the game. You can add them on to the lineup. Okay? Just don't have them on the lineup sheet when you go up to ground rules. Scratch them if they're not there, get them out of there, and then put them on at the end, but they can be added on. They cannot go in the field until they bat. Okay? But they can be added anytime. So.
Without any penalty. Once we had a girl late and we had to see her.
Was she on the lineup?
She might have been.
Yeah, don't put her on a lineup. Yeah, if she's going to be late, just leave her off. Then just come back to the ump and the other teams, add her on, then you're good to go. But if she's on the lineup, comes around, it's her time to bat, now you're looking at an out. So.
If we go through the entire batting lineup and they show up, where will they be entered at into the lineup?
Bottom lineup.
Bottom of the lineup?
Mm-hmm.
After the last out, I guess? Or they'd be number, say, 13 out of 13?
Yeah, 13 out of 13. Yeah, bottom of the lineup anywhere, doesn't matter.
So last year they had us put them at the bottom of the lineup. Over at ground rules, when I said I had a late girl, they said put them at the bottom of the lineup.
Well, they're not supposed to do that. So I'll add that to my mental note when we have our live stream with the umpires. So. Yeah, no, they're not supposed to do that. You don't want them on the lineup, period, because you never know. You get on a run, go through your whole lineup, now you created yourself a problem because you got a batter that's supposed to be there and they're not there. So you're better off to leave them off and just add them whenever they get there. So. All right. We're going to skip the 8U. We're in 10U. Whenever a third strike is not legally caught by the catcher, the batter shall be declared automatically out, and base runners may not advance. Okay? Players shall not be permitted to pitch more than 4 consecutive innings in one game. One pitch constitutes an inning. Make a note of that. So once they throw one pitch, that's not the warm-up pitch. It's one pitch to the batter. Okay? And an illegal pitch may be announced, but no penalty assessed, no runners advance, and no outs shall occur. If called, the umpire must indicate to the offender the purpose of the call. Okay? So basically, they're not going to, they're going to call, let you know. What we prefer the umpires do is let you know what the problem is. You have a few out there that's been umpiring quite a while, they're going to talk to the players. That's fine as long as they don't drag the game out or everything. But really, it's your responsibility to, to get informed from the umpire and then try to fix the problem. So you're going to be throwing 11-inch naturally, free substitution in all positions, 9 on the field. We had a few teams trying to pull 10 last year. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. You're only going 9. Stealing is allowed, and runners must remain on the base until the ball is released from the pitcher's hand. A base runner may not score, this is very important, on a pass ball, wild pitch, or drop strike. They may, however, advance score when a play is being made on them. So in 10U, this is not 12U, this is 10U. In 10U, you got a runner on third, got a runner on first. Catcher tries to throw out the runner going to second. That runner at third cannot go home. If that catcher at home tries to throw that to third to pick that runner off at third, pass ball, runner can go home. Okay? Now, if you have a runner at first, nobody on base, they go to second, your catcher throws down to second, they've now made a play on that runner, okay? And that runner can go all the way home. So it all comes down to the runner being forced, driven in, or a play made on them. That's the only way they can score.
So if you have one on first and one on third, and they throw to at third, first can't steal second?
Yeah. Yeah, they can. They just can't come home.
Okay,
They can go all the way to third.
okay, gotcha.
Play wasn't made on that runner. So the runner at third, pass ball, they come home, runner on first, let's say it rolls way out into the outfield or whatever happens, they go all the way to third, but they got to stop.
Gotcha.
Because it was a pass ball. So, makes sense? Kind of gives the opportunity for the catchers to actually, in certain scenarios, try and make a play, kind of learn how to throw down without an actual penalty to them. So, to me, as coaching my girls, we've had this rule a long time. Teach your catchers, if they're at third, walk them back. So, I wouldn't even try to throw back to third unless you got one heck of a third baseman and one heck of a catcher. That's all I tell you, because I wouldn't even attempt it. It's just not worth it. So, all right. Any other questions on that? Let's see.
If they're
here.
stealing third base and the catcher tries to throw out the runner going from second to third, and then it goes past them, can they score?
Do what now?
If there's a runner on second, he's stealing, and they're stealing third. The catcher tries to throw the runner out.
At
and
third?
At third, the ball gets past the third baseman. Can the runner score?
Yeah. Any play made on the runner that results in
You
a
said
pass
around
ball,
back, so I was confused.
they could score. Right.
Gotcha.
We don't really have a whole lot of problem in 10U softball. It's 9U baseballs where we actually run into issues with the understanding of that rule. So most of the time we don't have a problem. Oh, 9 fielders. Okay, pitcher may not pitch more than 4 total innings in one game. You already know they can re-enter. Infield fly rule is not in effect. Automatic out is to be called by the umpire if he views a base runner missing a base upon runner reaching the next base or after the runner has left the playing field. Honestly with you, you might have a couple of umpires that are going to do that. Truthfully, we'd rather you get used to the appeal process. So in all reality, you can do a verbal appeal. So if you see, as a coach, you see a runner miss a base and the umpire doesn't make the call, you can verbally appeal. You don't even have to go through at 10U, not at 12U. At 10U, you can just do a verbal appeal and ask. We would rather them not, unless it's just a complete blatant at 10U, because they're still kind of learning the game from that point, but you're going to have some umpires that are going to be nitpicky. So I can tell you when you see me out there, because you will see me out there this year, I'm not going to call it unless it's totally blatant. I mean, they're going to have to completely miss it. I mean, it's going to have to be plain out before I would ever do that, and especially depending on the play, you know. You're not going to take a home run away from a 10-year-old girl because she missed the base by 3 inches, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just not right, so. Any questions on any of that on the 10U? Any questions, period, on the 10U before we go into the 12U? So.
We just, sorry.
You're
Can
fine.
you just go over the double safety thing, just so I know? It was at the beginning. Okay, just so I think I know, but I just want to make sure.
So if the field guys don't put the bases in the wrong way, which only happened once last year because we actually have a pretty good guy now, okay, you're going to have a white bag or you have an orange bag. Okay? Orange bag is the runner's bag. White bag is the
Okay,
fielder's bag.
got ya.
hmm
Okay,
Basically what it comes down to is sometimes you might get a tight play where the ball's being thrown in. The fielder has a right to the orange bag as well as the runner, depending on when the ball comes in. We don't typically have too many complications with it. But
okay.
we normally try to start all the way at, sometimes it's hard on 6U to have the orange bag down because we may have baseball before or after, but we try and start them early so that they get used to the orange bag. So we don't normally have too many problems with it. But we did have an incident last year where they had the bag flipped the wrong way. So,
Okay. But you tagged the white bag,
right.
both? Okay, okay, just to be,
So
okay.
you're saying that the fielder, the first baseman,
On the first base.
could go over and if they were to catch a bag.
Let's say if they were carried over, yeah, they could still use the orange
They
bag.
could still use the orange bag. No,
Bag.
I never knew that.
That's even in NSA rules. Yeah. Yeah. It all depends on the play when it comes down to a major ordeal like that. Yeah.
And then, like, let's say it's a drop third strike in the foul territory, and my catcher's calling outside, and she throws it down to the orange base, to the runner, ends up with flip-flopping bases.
Yeah. Well, halfway. No, basically the runner has to go. They have halfway to get back into the base path.
I'm just saying, like, my catcher is in foul territory,
Right.
and the angle is, it's gonna cross over the runner. And so our first baseman goes to the orange bag, and the runner would adjust to her and go to the white bag.
Well, the runner's not going to know most of the time. You know what I mean? I mean, it's going to be impossible for the runner. I know what you're saying.
Straight down the line on a drop third strike, right? Like,
Right.
I see the first
Right.
baseman.
So basically, what's going to come down to, if your player says outside, odds are that runner ain't going to know it. So the runner has the right to the orange bag. You know what I mean?
So they
But
could collide, or, I mean, or
They could.
Should we coach our kids to, if the first baseman's on the orange side, to
right.
To go
Yeah.
to the
Teacher. Yeah. I would. If you see them running to the orange bag, I would teach them to go to the inside if
So I
possible.
always thought that the whole purpose of the two bags was, the orange bag was for the runners.
It is.
It's the safety base.
It's a safety base,
And then
correct.
The first baseman is not supposed to be over there because that's their
Right.
right of way, so they can run and they don't have to worry about colliding.
Right.
That's
But
the fundamentals of baseball and softball is for a catcher to go throw to the outside, so he has to have a right to do that.
right. They still have to have that right.
If there's a ball
If
coming
you're
in.
running the base and there's somebody's occupying, you don't wanna collide with purpose.
Instincts
I mean,
says
if that
it's
was the
not
case,
defense.
then as you're running to the orange bag, the first baseman wouldn't have any right to tag you going to the orange bag,
Well,
right?
they wouldn't need to tag you if they have the ball, they just have to tag you.
Well, depending on how the throw came in. So if the ball came in about a foot ahead of the bag, they still have the right to tag you, see? So it really comes down, the orange bag is really just to keep things separated, but there are cases that occur in softball where you're pulled over. I mean, there's no way around it, so. Most of the time you prefer not to teach your catcher to go outside. If
Well,
the
I mean,
runner's
if
running,
Ball goes out.
If I had a drop
if the
third
ball goes that way, it's
If I had a
different.
drop third strike on the plate or in fair territory, then my catcher's gonna go inside.
Right.
But if it goes off her glove and
Right.
goes to the backstop, she's gonna be thrown outside.
So I'm
Right.
just curious, I'm not the coach, I'm just here to get the balls. But anyway, so you're not,
But now, if they catch the ball on the orange bag, okay, that doesn't count.
so the first baseman.
You know what I mean?
has the right-
So I mean, they can't catch a throw on the orange bag and it's considered an out. That's not.
So they can't play off the orange bag on the inside when they throw, so they have to play off the white bag?
I mean,
Well, that's opposite of what you just said. If the ball
You have the right. You have the right to go into that area without it being considered obstruction. But you still have to be on the white bag. Yeah. Let me clarify that.
That answers the question.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have the right to go into that area as the runner's coming through.
I misunderstood
Right.
you. I thought you meant they could touch either bag with their foot.
No. You still have to do the white.
Right, I'm good now.
Right.
Now you have the first baseman straddling the orange bag to make the play.
Yeah.
So you're actually taking both bags.
All right, well, I'll be honest with you. I did a lot of softball games. You don't see too many first basemen straddle both bags. So I was just pointing out that they have the right to the play.
They can move over there and catch them. Okay, I thought you meant they could tag that bag.
No.
So what if the catcher drops the ball to the dugout side and she stands up and she throws it to the first base, the runner's running, she's got the bag, she plays the bag on the orange bag, and the ump calls her out. Can we appeal that, since she didn't play the white bag, she played the orange bag? 'Cause
Right.
I've seen that last year.
Right, no, yeah. They're not out on the orange bag. You did, really? What age was that?
It was 12 games.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they can't. Yeah, tagging the orange. Now, you're going to, at a certain point, you can't split hairs. So let's say you reach over and hit the bag and you're halfway on the white and halfway on the orange as an umpire, you know. But if,
You can't do the tippy top of the orange bag over here and that's an out
no,
with your foot.
no, it's all going to be on the white bag. But I was just pointing out that the orange area is for the runner, but the fielder has the right to come into that area for a play. Yeah. And like your question, yeah, technically the runner, if they know the fielder's coming over, they should try to go to the white side of the bag. So, but it doesn't always happen, you know. Then it's going to come down to a judgment call on the umpire. So, basically, who interfered or who obstructed, basically. So, there's no way the runner is going to know your catcher's throwing outside. I mean, most of the time.
Catcher's throwing the outside, but I think they're going to see the first baseman shift their feet
Right.
over to the foul side.
Right. Most of the time, your runners are supposed to then move when they know that they've moved over there. Yeah. Most of the time. 10U, a little bit more complicated. 12U, they get better at it. 14U, it's like back of their hand, right? It's supposed to be. All right, glad we got that clear.
Thank you.
So in 12U, you got a natural drop third strike. You're basically playing regular softball. Free substitution still. Same thing with the pitcher. They get one warning on an illegal pitch. Okay, after that it happens. Everybody here, I'm sure, has been around, hopefully has been around softball to know crow hop, drag the feet. Do realize you don't have to, the foot doesn't have to hit the dirt as long as it stays parallel to the ground. Biggest key on a crow hop is make sure the ball doesn't come out. The ball comes out before the front foot hits the dirt. That way they don't gain a X amount of feet jump on the throw. That's the biggest key. Biggest confusion has always been, well, if I don't see a drag, they didn't drag their foot. They don't technically have to drag the dirt. They just have to, I mean, as they get older, you see that all the time. That's because they're throwing so hard, pushing so hard, they don't have a whole lot of option. Otherwise, they're going to crow hop 90% of the time. But really, it only has to stay parallel to the ground. So, trust me, I did a lot of NSA games over the last 14, 15 years, so see about everything from that point. Probably see a few different softball umpires this year, you all returning, so hopefully you're happy with that. We'll see. Be a few of them that you were happy with before, so I think it'll all be good. 12-inch softball naturally, 9 fielders. Stealing is allowed after the ball is released from the pitcher's hand. So everybody understands the call when an umpire sees a runner leave too early. They're basically going to stick their arm out. It's like this. Right? It's a delayed call. It's supposed to be a delayed call. They shouldn't kill it. If they kill it, they ain't doing it right because the opposing team has the opportunity. What if you had a double play hit in? They would have allowed you 2 outs. So it should be a live ball, what they call a delayed dead ball. So if the runner sees it come out, if the umpire sees them, they hold their arm out. When you see that, you know they have something.
Situation was, are we gonna have 2 umps on the field?
Hmm?
Are we gonna have 2 umps on the field this year?
Depends on how fast y'all run them off.
Last year we were having those calls, and it was a question whether they were
Right.
watching the run.
Oh, trust me, I know. Hey, while we're on that, we'll just roll right into that topic. So everybody realizes that there's like a nationwide shortage on umpires, right? And then there's an actual huge shortage in the state of Missouri. You know, most of these young ones coming up, they'll come in for a year, they'll do it, they get run off, and they'll go work in a concession stand at the ballpark for $7.50 an hour versus making what they could make umpiring. So it is a difficult situation. We had a great group coming out this year, a nice turnout of new umpires. We'll try and make sure we pair them up with experience. That's why I'm coming out this year. Don't be scared. I won't do anything too bad to y'all. But that's why we're doing that, because we've got to get a regroup again, especially on the softball side. You're just seeing a shortage, and baseball, really. It's just across the board. So, I mean, we typically run with 120, 125 umpires. I think we'll run this year probably with about 125 short. And there's just, nobody's coming out. Nobody wants to work it anymore. So it's unfortunate, but it's just a reality. And if you go to tournaments, you're not seeing the same quality umpires that you seen 10 years ago, I guarantee you. They're not the same. They're taking umpires that have only been umpiring 2 years and paying them $55, $60 a game just so they have a warm-blooded body. So, and we spend a lot of time with them here. We really do. I mean, we're going into our 7th week this weekend. Next weekend will be 8 weeks with outdoor training. So, I mean, it's a long time frame. That's indoor classes, it's videos and outdoor training with live games. And we do everything we can for them. But bottom line is parents, and not trying to blame you all either, but parents and coaches make it miserable. They really do. You know, and in the end, the only ones that actually get hurt are the kids. It's not anybody else. So, but we have a good turnout for it, and I think it's because we spend so much time with them. So, and like I said, this year we have a good group of new softball umpires actually wanting to focus on softball. So I'm kind of excited about that, and some of the senior ones that we have coming back to help out. So you'll probably see a few changes out there that you hadn't seen before. So I'm kind of excited about it. I'm a softball guy. Don't take me wrong, I love baseball, but I've always liked softball. Faster game, moves quicker, girls hustle faster. Just being honest with you. So, any questions? Nope. 10U, haven't decided what we're going to do. Same way with 12U on splits yet. We've got some more teams coming in, so we'll kind of go from there. I did move you all already, so that's done. And hopefully we get everything set. I'll go into scheduling, and if we get done by middle of March, the 25th, 26th, that'd be great. I mean, sooner I get them done, I'll release them and let you all know. So, sooner the better for me, anyway. Any questions before we go through what we're gonna? A few other things I want to make sure everyone knows.
Since we play up here, they've never had a weekend game. Is all scheduling going to be tried to be played through the week?
Yeah, weekends are almost impossible here. City prefers to have the weekends tied up for two things, either tournaments or practices. So we only play Monday through Friday. And actually, I kind of like that. Weekends should be up to you all, whether you want to play tournaments or do your own family thing. So it's kind of a nice added feature there. You know, I mean, it would be nice when we get into heavy rainouts and do that, but you know, now most of your tournaments need umpires so bad, you're going to have a hard time pulling league umpires in to even ump weekend games. So, no, Monday through Friday. We'll try and cross you all over between Westoff and Ozzie. Kind of like to see a little bit of softball over there whenever we can. So, try and mix up the diamonds a little bit. I know, you know, a lot of the games are played over on Field 3, which really isn't a bad diamond. Now they got the fences all taken care of over there. It's a little bit better, but it's still kind of fun to get over at Ozzie and play a little bit. So. Any other questions? Nope. All right. So, a couple of things. Lineup sheets. Anybody new with this, don't know this? Anybody coming back with this, probably already heard it before. It's got to be first name, last name, and number. Okay? All lineup sheets come back to us. We do cross-check. It's very important. It's a requirement. We hang on to everything for at least 1 year, just in case there's any kind of injury, any kind of problems, anything of that nature. Not to mention, not to say that any coaches try to slip players in that aren't supposed to be there. I would never accuse anybody of that, but, you know, and if you have to bring a player in, at least, you know, contact us and see what we can figure out for you. You know what I mean? If you're short, if you're only going to have 9 players or 8 players, you know, but depending on the time of the year, you can add players all the way up till you're through your 6th ball game. So. But those have to be that way. The umpires have been instructed. The new ones, all the senior ones, they know you got to have first name, last name, number. They're not going to accept it. If you turn one in and it's not right and you refuse to do it, you're going to be ejected and it's going to come to your assistant coach. And if your assistant coach doesn't do it, you got 15 minutes to do it and the game's going to be a forfeit. So.
And just put the number on there. Everybody's got a number on the back of their shirt.
Right.
I mean, when somebody's trying to fill out their lineup card for the other team, really? You can't put their number on there? I don't know those kids.
My favorites are the little ones. They're like, well, I don't know their last names. That's my favorite. Oh, yeah, I know, but you got a roster. I don't know. You have a way to look at it. So, and then the other thing is coaches. Okay, everybody hopefully is fully aware that the federal government's gotten involved now due to the U.S. Gymnastics. Okay, as a nonprofit, we are required to follow those federal regulations, period, or we could lose our nonprofit status. So, any coaches involved on the field or in the dugout has to be registered in the system, and they have to be background checked. Okay? If you only have one coach listed on the team, that's the only coach that's going to be allowed to walk on the field. And we all know it takes...
Or in the dugout.
Or in the dugout, yeah.
Will you guys be doing the badges still?
Now, the badges became a nightmare. So, you know, we're monitoring everything in the system, which quite a few of the teams, everybody has multiple coaches, you know. And it covers you, really. It really does. I mean, not to say there's ever an issue anywhere, but the problem you have is if you put somebody out there you have no idea about and then something happens, you're not covered under any umbrella, period.
Base coaches too? Or like base coaches?
Base coach, anybody that's going to be involved basically by federal regulations, anybody involved with children, period. And your tournaments, in all reality, their regulations are worse because now they're talking about interstate crossplay. How many tournaments are going to actually follow that situation is a totally different scenario because right now the federal government doesn't have any way to check everything until somebody turns them in. So eventually what's going to happen is it's going to filter down into the states. So the states are going to follow the federal pattern that they went, and then now the state will get involved, and that changes the ball game totally. So we basically, as a nonprofit, we've jumped on board to follow what they're doing, so that when the state of Missouri follows suit, then we don't have to worry about it.
So even if they coach somewhere else and had a background check, they still need to get one through here?
We can, if you have one that's acceptable by federal standards. The problem you have is the federal government hasn't put in a standard background check.
It's just all online.
So everybody,
Yeah, no,
meaning when you do a background
I did
check.
mine. No, I get
Right,
it.
yeah.
I was a preschool teacher and I had gotten one at the beginning of the year, but I still had to get one
Right.
through you
Yeah,
guys.
one
So
year
there's
I was Uber driving. I had to be background checked for volunteering at my church, and I had to be background checked here.
Okay.
So I had
No,
3
that's
of them
fine.
in one. The problem is there's no standard. So every place has a different
Okay.
deal. See, in the past, our background checks, all we did was focus on any kind of domestic violence, abuse, anything of that nature. The problem now is we can't do that. So any felony period that fires, then we have to go back and look cross-reference with the federal guidelines to make sure it's okay. So, and if it'll be okay. So it's a little bit different now than it was before. Hence the increase in price. But right now it's 2 years, and if it keeps changing the way it is, we're going to try and go 3 years. We can go as high as 3 years on the background checks to be valid. So.
You know, vacations and stuff during summer, like, is there a cutoff we could add a person to that list? To the coaches list? Like, you know, go on vacation, someday I'll step in or something like that for a game or something like
As
this.
long as they're registered to the team. No, there's no deadline on coaches. You can add them whenever. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of vacations, hey, I know nobody can do it at the same time, but the easiest way to get your vacations in is tell them I'll take it the week of the 4th. Because we're shut down for a whole week, you know, which really hurts us, you know, because they had the 4th of July celebration here, and the problem you run into is it's right at the heart of where you're trying to do most of your rain makeups, and that's what pushes us typically into the 3rd week of July, because we have to miss the entire week. So,
Which is where it would be nice if you could do it on a weekend one time, right?
right,
Get them all knocked out.
right. But hey, you know, we run, between us and the city, the amount of games that pump through those diamonds, which City will found when they built Ozzie Smith Park, it was projected to only last till, what, 2012, something like that. So, I mean, try and go up there and find a field to get on, 90% of the time is impossible. So, any other questions? Nope. You're sitting quiet over there, man. You'll hit me later. No. So yeah.
Is there a way we can reserve field time?
Yeah. Shoot me an email, and I'll send you Roy Hayes. It's actually through Roy Hayes at rhayes@o'fallon.mo.us. But if shoot me an email and I'll send you his information. Typically about $10 an hour unless you want lights. Then you're probably pushing more around 15. Typically, just so you know, once season starts, you're not going to get anything through the week. So you can just plan on weekend practices because most of the fields are going to be booked.
Okay. Okay, all right.
We attempted many times to get all the diamonds from the city. The problem is that we have teams that play here that don't live in O'Fallon. So they have to leave the fields available to the residents for rental as well. So we actually offer just to rent them all and then rent them out to the coaches. You know what I mean? But they won't let us do that. So we actually rent them ourselves from the city. So. Otherwise, I don't have anything else other than the fact that the way we're going to do it, half our board has the flu. So it's me and Teresa. So Teresa's going to handle all the game balls, scorebooks, lineup sheets. If you don't need equipment, you get to go right over there, get your stuff, and get out the door. If you need equipment, I'm gonna get some clipboards ready, have you fill it out. I'll grab your catcher's gear. Softball helmets, we still are doing if you need them. I ask you that you limit whatever you need because of the face mask, but otherwise we've gotten completely out of the helmet business, just so you know. But we will hand those out if you want a couple until you get your girls lined out or away or whatever.
I'm sorry, did you say there is no catcher helmet, or no?
No, no, no.
Batting helmet.
No batting helmet. You can do batting helmets because you're all softball, and we require the face mask.
Okay.
Okay.
So they can wear their batting helmet as catcher.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
You'll get catcher's gear.
Right, sorry.
And then no, what I was pointing out is we're actually basically by federal regulations and sanitary purposes, we're getting out of the helmet
I get
business.
that,
But
no.
we're still on the softball because we require the face mask. We're
Right.
still letting you all get a couple, a few, just in case you got a girl waiting to get it. But
Yeah, I misheard Steve. Yeah.
and I'm telling you, as much money as I spent on my daughters on their teeth, face masks are well worth it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if I was coaching softball today, I would want all my infield almost wearing the face shields.
I do have a question about pitchers. Are they required to wear the?
No, not required, but recommended.
So they're not required to.
Pitchers? No, they're not required.
No, I know. I always have required. I thought it was
What are
going
pitchers
to.
supposed to wear in TV?
Hmm?
What are pitchers supposed to wear in TV?
No, pitchers aren't required to wear anything,
Sorry, we're talking-
but the batters are required to wear the batting mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, somebody asked if they can wear their helmets with the cages to catch instead of.
No, 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 no. They got to have a regular catcher's mask. Yeah.
If I gave you a deposit check last spring, and I still have the catcher's gear because I used it in the fall too, so I didn't need to
You
go
still
check.
have it, right?
I still
Then.
have it.
Yeah, no,
I still
we-
have my checks, I figured we're all good.
Yeah.
You don't need me to check?
No.
Okay. Just in my garage.
No.
You know.
No, we're no, not at all. Now, if you need swap something, just come on and see us, and we'll swap it. You know, if something's wrong with it. You know, a lot of them helmets now are getting bad, and I don't know. Did anybody price helmets lately?
Oh, Johnny Max has good deals right now.
Oh
Our
yeah.
new helmet, like 25% off.
I bought my grandson one, about had a coronary.
What's that?
I feel like their prices are inflated because they have to follow MSRP.
Yeah, some of them are a little high on their equipment at Johnny Max.
I don't know, like, I just feel like those ribbon masks, like, you can find them at Amazon for like $40, but like, they're $54.99, but then they say, well, they're 25% off or whatever, and so you're still,
Comes out to be the
you're still
same.
cheaper just going to Amazon, which is probably why.
Hey, you can't. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you because I'm an Amazon guy. So like almost everything I buy is Amazon. So.